Straffe Hendrik Tripel.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Band, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've got a triple here from the Halve Maan Brewery, which is based in a lovely part of Belgium called Bruges. Now I've actually been there, and Bruges is absolutely gorgeous. It really is. And you know, anybody who says Belgium is boring has either A, not been there, B, doesn't like beer, or C, is boring themselves, because I absolutely love the place. Been there loads of times, went over there on the bike about 2 years ago, that was the last time I was there. Was supposed to be going this year, I was going to tour this brewery, but of course COVID has fucked that. So I'm going to have to make do with just drinking it at home. Before I do, just a quick word about the Halve Maan Brewery. Now, they're obviously based in Bruges. They've been going since 1856, but their location has been a location for brewing beer for nearly 500 years, which I think is pretty amazing. And they've continued that since the mid 1800s, and they've been brewing ever since then. You may have heard the name before. If you've ever seen the Bruges Zot beers, they do a blonde and they do a dark beer. They brew that as well. But the most interesting thing about this brewery, I think anyway, and I was told this by a fella who, when we stayed in Bruges, a few years ago, we was actually doing a gig there, and we stayed in this hotel, and I asked him for, has he got a wheat beer or a Belgian Wit beer? He said he hadn't, but he's got some of this Bruges Zot. I'd never tried it before. This is going back a few years. And I said I had one of them. So he then proceeded to tell me the story about the pipeline that the Halve Maan Brewery built throughout Bruges to basically mean that their lorries didn't have to go down the cobbled streets of Bruges. And it was brilliant. It was crowd-funded. It wasn't like your Brewdog crowdfunding, put it that way. You actually saw a return for this. They paid the people back in beer, which I think is great. You know what you're getting. There's no illusions. You just give them your money. You get a pipeline running underneath the town, which the beer flows through. Now, this fella in the hotel did tell me that they did have quite a few people tapping into this pipeline and drawing off beer from it. I don't know how true that is, but that's what he told me. If they did, that's fucking sneaky. Shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get on to this beer. This is a Belgian triple, or as they say, it's a Bruges triple. It's 9%. I've got to be really careful with this. And triples are normally light in colour. And from what I can tell, this is quite light, but it's in a brown bottle, so I could be mistaken on that. What's interesting in this, it contains 6 different types of malt. Unfortunately, I don't know what styles of malt it is, but I do know what hops are in here. They've got Sartz hops, which is a noble hop, and they have Styrian Goldings. Again, a very nice hop indeed, from the similar sort of region as well. Styrian Goldings are from Austria, Slovenia, around there. Sartz hops, usually Czech Republic, around that area. So they're sort of Central European hops. But it does look quite interesting. Here is the label. Can you see that? The Halve Maan. That means half moon. They've got that on the cap as well. Just a quick word about Straffe Hendrik. Straffe Hendrik is another line that the Halve Maan produce. They do this triple, and they do a quadruple as well. Straffe Hendrik, Straffe I think that's how it's pronounced, or Straffe. I don't know. It's Dutch. I'm fucking not going to try and pronounce that and make myself look like an arse. Straffe means strong in Flemish, and Hendrik is the equivalent of Henry in English. So it basically translates to strong Henry. I wonder, did Jimi Hendrix change his name because he didn't want to be known as Jimi Henry?
I'm Super Chicken. Don't you forget it.
That'd be funny. Jimi Henry sounds like a black and white American comedy actor, doesn't it? Jimi Henry. And here's Jimi Henry. Anyway, more on that later. Let's get this little baby opened up. Been looking forward to this. Been busy at work today, and I need something to unwind. As I say, there's the cat. Cool. The aromas already just pouring out of that bottle. Wow. I really like that cat. That is really cool. we knew a girl once and she had a chin like that. We used to call her Old Mother Hubbard. She used to go fucking mental. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get this into the glass. Wow, the CO2 that's coming out of this, just on the opening, you can see it. That is really lively indeed. God, these aromas. There is a ton of spice, an absolute ton in that. Definitely, I can get the spirit alcohol too. That's actually quite strong. It's sort of tingling in my nose a little bit. There's a lot of spice. It smells like black pepper, ginger, I think, or is that orange peel? A mixture of ginger and orange peel. Wow. There's a little touch of clove on there. Caramel. And that's about it. But the alcohol is really strong on this. Well, at 9%, that stands to reason, really. And of course, this is bottle conditioned as well, as is most Belgian beer. This will have the candy sugar in it with the yeast added afterwards. I should have really put this in a chalice and let that CO2 dissipate a little bit. But there it is in the glass. It smells absolutely gorgeous. Nice fine carbonation, and if I'm not mistaken, there's little bits of yeast floating about in there too. Oh, it smells absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to get this down my fat Gregory Peck. Cheers. Wow, that's really nice. And the spirit alcohol isn't that big on the first mouthful, which I thought it was going to be like a cognac, just smooth, but just burn all the way as it was going down. But it's not, it's quite smooth. Wow, this is really complex. I've really got to think about this. Right, so there's the spice I mentioned. That's all there. The black pepper, the clove, the coriander. I'm sure it's ginger or orange peel or a combination of the two. I really can't work out what one it is. I think it might be a combination of the two. 1 minute it tastes like ginger, it's got a slight real spice to it, and then it sort of flips over to orange flavour. There is a little touch of caramel on that as well, which obviously is coming from the malt. No real hot bitterness on this that I can get. There is a sweetness to it as well. That candy sugar I can really get that. And it clings to the mouth like a good triple would. And that leaves a little tiny hint of ethanol. And that's probably the hop bitterness in there as well. Wow, this is really complex, but nice at the same time. Super lively too, but that carbonation isn't too obtrusive. I really should have put that in a chalice. I probably would have got more flavours out of it that way. But the actual glass they suggest is a snifter glass, which unfortunately I don't really have. I've got one on order that is on the way, but I don't have one up there. Let's dive in again. There's a little bit more candy sugar sweetness coming through there, but there is actually more bitterness coming through as well, if you can imagine that. And it's like the two are fighting each other. Wow. And on the finish there is some of that hot bitterness I can get. It's like a herbal hot bitterness. This is really nice, and do you know what, with every mouthful I could probably glean some more flavours from this. This is a really nice one. I wouldn't have expected much less from the Halve Maan, because the two Brugs beers that they do, they're really nice. And when I first moved down to Kent, there was a Belgian bar in Maidstone which served this on tap. Sadly, it's gone out of business. I just think people obviously, and it was only selling Belgian beer, and I just think it was a bit lost on people, which is a real shame, because they had some great beer in there. Brugs on tap is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, that's a really nice triple. Not the best triple, but it's really nice. I'm liking the hot bitterness now. That's really coming through on the back end. Didn't get that first, but now I can really get that. But it's weird because you've got the sort of hot bitterness on the throat, but in the mouth you're sort of tasting like that sweet candy sugar sticking to the side of your mouth. It's really nice. I'm really impressed with that. It's not the best triple that I've tasted, but I'll tell you what, it's not far away. That is really nice. So what's the verdict on Straffe Hendrik Brugs Tripel? Yeah, it's really nice, really complex. That's the one abiding memory that I will have of this if I never drink it again. I probably will drink it again actually, because that is a really good example of a Belgian triple. At 9%, the ABV is spot on. The flavours are all there that you would expect from a triple, and a little bit more as well. And I think that is a really good example. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. And I definitely recommend the stuff from the Halve Maan Brewery. If you've not tried the Brugs, this may be a little bit heavy duty if you're not used to some of the stronger Belgian beers. I'd suggest trying the Brugs Blonde. That's really nice. It's by the same brewery and it's good quality, as is this as well. And as I said, I really wanted to go over there this year. Well, I had it all planned out. It was going to be my stag do. We were going to do this. We were going to go to Bruges. We were going to go to the brewery and just visit a few bars. I was going to get the camera. It was going to be like a mini tour type thing. Sadly, all out the window because of COVID. And this is the first day of the lockdown. This is the 5th of November. And yeah, it looks like we're in for another shit month ahead. But don't worry, I will be getting more beers in to review. So hopefully you will be enjoying my reviews, or not, as the case may be. So that's an 8.5 out of 10. This has been the first day of lockdown, and you've been wonderful, darling. And remember, beer is working class champagne.